Welcome to Ben and Williams Gaming Grief. Have you ever heard of a 1990 movie called Days of Thunder?
We haven't.
Well, as with many other movies of similar merit, there was a game tie-in as well.
And would you believe it sucks balls?
Not that good. Released in 1990 for MS-DOS.
Here's our review.
Days of Thunder. Listen to that music.
Or if that's supposed to be music, I'm not really sure.
Yep. Alright, Paramount Pictures, the various people that went into this, God bless them all. And here we go.
What the fuck is that?
Those boxes are apparently cars, and that red... Yeah, cars. And that red board is supposed to be the outside of the track.
And look at the audience.
Look at those sprinkles in the audience there.
It looks like a pride parade watching NASCAR.
Yep. And coming around the bend here. There we go.
Those are definitely cars.
Yep.
Yep. Is that grass or something?
Yep,
or?
those are clouds. Now, of course, DOS really couldn't handle anything like this at the time. It was also ported to Commodore 64 and the ZX Spectrum. I haven't played either of those versions, but I don't know how that would be.
This game is a fine example of developers trying to push hardware way farther than it should be pushed, and the game suffers as a result.
Alright, going to the Phoenix International Raceway. It doesn't really matter which one you pick. And zooming in on your car. Now, you start in the pit lane, of course, and there's that's the only time where it looks like an actual car. And accidentally backing up, and we are off. And there's a big guy.
I wonder if you can run him over.
Probably not, but whatever. And going here. The controls don't work. They're just, if you make so much, they're extremely sensitive, which isn't a good thing for a racing game.
Yeah, really oversensitive controls just don't work in a game like this. I mean, obviously you don't really need that much sensitivity for a NASCAR track because it's just a giant circle. But, you know, it's just, as a general rule of thumb, oversensitive driving controls are just a bad idea.
Yeah. Alright. Interestingly enough, if you drive on the grass, then you go the same speed. You might as well just cut corners throughout the entire track. Just get it done faster.
The speedometer may tell you you're going slower, but in actuality, you're really not.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter whether it's 100 or 200 miles per hour. Basically, it's the same speed. And speaking of going a different speed, it's so long and tedious to get through that many laps that either you're going to crash before, or you might as well just quit because it's not worth just doing the whole thing.
And just a note, you hit that wall so hard it turned red.
Yep.
Okay, what were the developers thinking? Like, if you crash into things, they change color?
Yep. In the game Hard Driving, which was released in the arcades in, I believe, 1987 or somewhere around there, and then it was released for DOS in 1990, which was the same year as this, your windshield would crack and then you'd get an instant replay. This one just has a bunch of red and yellow flashing polygons. Also, if you notice below the windshield, there's a black line that's supposed to tell you how much more damage your car can take. And it doesn't really make much sense that the outside of your car is doing that.
And just a note, he barely hit anything, yet for some reason it's doing lots of damage to his car. Like, I don't get it.
And look at that once again.
It turns red again.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Interesting thing about how it counts laps. This game counts your first lap as lap 0. You'll notice it starts 0 out of 10, and then it counts from 1 out of 10, which is actually 2, 2 out of 10, which is actually 3. So in reality, you're going 11 laps, and while that might not seem like a big difference, it's so boring and just takes so long and so tedious, you might as well it's not worth going that many laps.
And by the time you finish 10 laps, okay, you probably couldn't finish 10 laps because you would have crashed already, because this game is so generous with this damage.
Alright. Lap 3, which is actually 47 seconds for the best lap. For the best lap, it feels like 3 minutes, it really does.
There's not really much to say about this game, just because it's so simple. Like, which brings you to another point. Why do people like NASCAR? Because
just driving around in a circle.
Yeah, you're just driving around in a circle. I don't see the entertainment in a bunch of people polluting the earth driving around in a circle.
Now, it may be interesting because there's other people competing, but even when you're doing the race cup, which we'll show you next, it's still, if you make one mistake, then you can barely catch up with anyone. You might as well just play the practice race again, because that's what all it seems like.
Yeah, just as a note, you should probably stay away from this game. Oh, and look, he barely hit anything and got damage again. Okay then.
Wonderful, collision detection at its finest. And look at this.
Oh, and listen to that music.
And there's just life-size picture of a car in flames.
See,
Alright.
the only time they ever look like cars is when you're not playing the game.
Yeah, I mean, the pit lane, it looked like sort of like digitized Hot Wheels, and kind of looks like this, too. But, just doesn't... Nice job, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, you fucked up. Back to your trooper sign.
Okay, well, we've shown you the practice. Now let's see what's like in the race for the Cup. If you don't see any cars here, I'll explain why. You have to do 4 qualifying laps before you actually start the race for the Cup, just to get your time and see if you will qualify. So you can't escape the one car thing.
Yeah, it's obviously not as bad as 10 laps, but it's still 3 laps, and given how much damage you can take, 3 laps is hell.
Alright, and as always, the controls just... No, yeah. And let's see, just cruising around, going between the track and the grass like every other normal NASCAR guy.
I don't get how, like, you can basically, like, violate every rule of, like, every conceivable rule of NASCAR, and the game will not punish you for it. Like, cut corners? No big deal. Whatever. Do what you want.
So, alright, it's 53 seconds. This is, honestly, this is boring, and already just one lap, I've taken about half of my damage allowed.
Yeah, I don't get why they make you. I mean, well, I can understand why they make you do this to qualify, but I don't understand why you have to like sit through this, like even in a race, like, you know, in the race for the Cup thing. I don't get it.
Now, for example, let's say pole position, which was released in 1982 in the arcades. You did have to do the prepare to qualify thing for the actual race, and it would determine your pole position, of course. That was 1 lap. This is 4 laps. I don't get it. Was this a part of the movie? Did Tom Cruise have to drive 4 laps before he could be in the race?
Yeah, and the fact is, like, pole position is fun. This isn't. Like, that's the biggest thing separating those 2 games, is pole position is actually enjoyable, and this game is just a pile of shit.
Now, pole position had even better collision detection. This is, like, for a game made that long ago, how could a game made on better hardware, this was even a port of, I don't think this was a port of a game, but this was on DOS, and I think I'm about to finish the laps. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, I don't think they could have done, pole position is better than this, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
And we're driving in circles. Not very interesting there. Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, I think we're coming down the home stretch here. I think we're about done. Am I right?
Yeah, that took way longer than it should have.
Yeah. And we've qualified. What fun. We have qualified for position 8. Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay, and there are all the other cars, and we're way at the back, of course.
They're supposed to be cars, but they look like giant blobs.
Alright. And look at those names. Rowdy Burns, Russ Wheeler, Bob Bohannon. That's like stereotypical
Dick
NASCAR
Thornton.
name. Dick Thornton, yep. And we're at the bottom, Cole Trickle.
Yeah, that's a great name. Cool.
Yeah.
Good job, Tom Cruise.
Alright. And here we go.
And you'll notice that whenever you start a race with more than one car in it, the frame rate basically dies. Like,
Yeah. It's so choppy. It's very nearly unplayable. You can just barely get through it. Alright.
oh my god.
Collision detection with cars is arguably worse than collision detection with against the walls, as you'll see in a few moments. Alright, so position 8, about to overtake 7th place.
Not to mention, you'll see pretty soon, you can actually clip through cars in this game. Like, there's,
Yeah.
I guess the developers assumed we'd never be catching up to them, so
Yeah.
cutting corners again.
Alright. And you're going even faster than we were just a few moments ago, and I'm about to get to position 7.
Some of the cars jump ahead of us, so...
Alright, wonderful.
Yeah, this game is totally... Not only is this game fucked up, it's totally unfair.
Yeah. On position 7, yep. Position 8, 7. Let's see if I can overtake this guy here.
Yay,
And
pride,
let's have a
crowd.
look. Wonderful. And let's see what happens here. Alright, position. What's happening?
Alright, we're catching up.
Okay, we're catching up. Good, good.
Oh,
And
go
going right through the car. And crash, finally.
Okay, we go through one but hit the other, and then we pretty much...
stuck. Hold on. There we go. And position 8, and there go all the other... You can see that. There go the other cards. They're going around the next turn.
Yeah, if you so much as hit, like, one thing in this race, you're fucked, and you cannot catch up with anybody else.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Alright, going around the bend.
Yeah, we're kind of out of things to say for this game because we pretty much said all that needs to be said about this pile of shit. So there's a review.
Man, that game pretty much sucks.
Yeah. So, if you have any requests for games or just have any feedback, comments, tell us what we're doing well, tell us what we're not doing well, send it to gaminggrief@gmail.com.
Yep.
And
There's a link right up there.
Right up there, yeah.
Alright. And thank you for watching our first episode. Stay tuned for our next one where we review the Commodore 64 Classic, Peter Shilton's Handball Maradona.
Well, classic is, not really the word I used to describe it. Yeah, handball.